Hey everybody, John Foss, CW Twin Cities. Very excited to be talking with Josh Hartnett, one of our own, about his new film, Inherit the Viper, which is in theaters and on demand right now. Josh, tell us about this film.
Well, this film takes place in Ohio, and it has to do with the opiate epidemic and the sort of the tragedy, the sort of human scale tragedy that occurs in a small town when this drug takes hold. But it more specifically surrounds a family of drug dealers and the conflict between the three siblings who run this business. Because he sees the devastation. He's been trying to get out of it his whole life. He ended up joining the military when he was younger, came back with PTSD, really wants to save his younger brother. It's about the opiate epidemic, but it's not hit you over the head, straight from the headlines sort of take on the opiate epidemic. It is more about the human tragedy in the community, and it is a very tragic film.
And the opioid epidemic has been a big problem in the United States over the last few years and has gained a lot more awareness recently. I mean, President Trump talked about it when he was elected, and it's just become more in the media, in the spotlight. People are starting to learn more about it and learn that it is a problem. Mm-hmm. Do you have any opinion as far as like why this has become such a problem? Is it the medical field, or is it like in the movie the amount of money that people can make selling it? Why is this such a problem in the United States?
Well, both over prescribing it and the fact that it has a high street value are both factors. But it's not. This film isn't. What I like about this film is it's not exploring the political background of this story. It's just talking about it and the human toll that it takes. Personally, I mean, since this film was made, since we shot it 2 years ago, a lot of news has come out about how certain drug companies have had to pay out some money and change their practices as far as sales of opiates go, and all of that is for the betterment of the people involved on the ground, and on the human level. And this film kind of, I think, illuminates, because it is about this small town and the effect that this drug has within the community. It illuminates the sort of vast gap between the stories that we hear about on the news and the actual human toll. There's not a lot of crossover there, and I think that's hopefully what people will walk away from this film feeling.
That sounds really cool. I'm definitely excited to see this film. And as we mentioned in the intro to this interview, you are from Minnesota, and one film that I've seen that I really like, and actually was directed by a guy that I worked with a few times, Brady Kieran.
Yeah.
Here in the Twin Cities, Stuck Between Stations. Tell us how you got involved with that film and that experience.
Well, a couple of friends of mine wrote that script, and I was living in New York at the time, and we were all living in New York, the two writers and myself, and it was all friends making it. I didn't know Brady yet, but I got to know him on the film. But they asked me to come play a character based on a guy that we all knew very well, and I couldn't say no. I was excited to be a part of it, and I love to be a part of films that I think are saying something, and especially ones that come from smaller films that come from our community back in the Twin Cities.
We're just gonna be like friends tonight. We're not gonna kiss or anything.
Who says I even want to kiss you? No, I'm here. I am in Minneapolis. Hey, guess who I ran into tonight? Becky Fine.
What are you doing hanging out with this fascist? He's still bombing villages with my hard-earned tax dollars?
You were in the army or something? I head back tomorrow. Back to Afghanistan later in the month. But I just keep thinking, what if this is it? What if this is all we get? Why did you hang out with me tonight?
Yeah, that's definitely a great film that I think a lot of people would love to see. So hopefully that gets on people's radar, because you did a great job. And you've done so many good indie projects, and you're such a great actor. And I think one of the things is you made decisions to pick certain roles and not take other roles. But now looking back, you've said that maybe you would have done things a little different because you've had some amazing opportunities. Is there one role that you would like to, if you could go back in time, to to accept that role?
No, I mean, I think I know what you're referring to, but I don't. It's not. You know, there's a knock-on effect from everything you do, and I've had the most. I've been able to work with the most amazing people over the course of my career, and I wouldn't change any of it. But I am a different person now than I was when I was younger, and the business has changed so dramatically. It's very difficult now to make a living in independent film fully. We shot this film, Inherit the Viper, for, I mean, you could make 100 of these films for every studio film that's made. It was a very, very small budget. We shot it very quickly. Sometimes we only had one take for each setup. In order to get everything that we needed in order to make the film and put it together. And pretty much everything that we shot is actually on the screen, and you can see it in the film. There isn't a lot of extra stuff that is lost, even takes. I mean, there's very little shot, very little time. So sometimes, and I love that challenge, but sometimes, you know, when we started making independent film, there was more money in independent film. There was the ability to take, you know, a few weeks, a couple of months even, to make these films, and nowadays it becomes more and more a labor of love. So it's unfortunate, but it's getting harder and harder to make them. But I will continue to try. You know, I mean, that's in my opinion part of the fun of our industry is it's still sometimes like the Wild West. You can still push things through that shouldn't have any business being seen by the public, and in this instance, I think it's similar in that it's a really great story told well with good people in it, but it really doesn't have a lot of backing on a national scale, and yet it's going to now get a release in theaters, which is super exciting for me.
All right.
All right.
Well, Josh Hartnett, thank you so much. We love you here in the Twin Cities.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do. Twin Cities, make sure you check out Inherit the Viper in theaters on demand right now. Thanks, Josh.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
The CW crew on the CW Twin Cities, DJ Vonix, Alexa Score, and John Foss. Like, follow, subscribe to, and love the CW crew.